Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah, probably bad, yeah. But
What do you do with it?
Take it out for a sec. Lori? Yeah? Be careful if you're digging there.
Challenge number 1.
Don't do anything with your hands.
It's actually because if you stand there to open it.
Yeah, that's what I expected. That's why we need shovels.
Dump the grass down so we don't have to sit in
Then maybe even. First look if there is anything down there. And if you don't see anything, put it. Okay.
Oops.
Well, this is too high. Let's sit behind it. I think she got the easy one.
She's a little stronger than she looks.
There we go. You got one? Anyone want to
Get underneath and
Oh, there's an animal. Where's one?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, be careful of snakes, centipedes. They will be in there. You will, and spiders the size of golf balls. But other than that, ain't no problem.
Here.
Together brought some.
You stick your thing under that one. I'll grab on the top once I get some gloves and help you lift it. So, get underneath here. Yeah, get underneath and give you a little bit.
There, I saw the bottom. I see the bottom.
Okay, I got gloves. Let me do some pulling. Vivi. Vivi, I got gloves. Cool.
There you go.
Perfect. Wow, look at that. Lori.
Go! It's the gloves that did it.
Thank you, BACH. Oh, wow. Well, okay.
Yeah, that seems to be the easier way.
Shove one.
I think we need to pull.
We'll just get back out of the way.
Kind of pretty that actually. It sort of funnels up to the rear here.
Drag. Anybody still need gloves? Yeah, there.
I got it. I'll go in and do it. Yeah, her fingers.
We can't pull it very much because the fabric is so taut. So we can't, unfortunately. It's, it will.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I think the fabric's the problem.
The fabric.
I was saying you have to pull it as much as you can and move it just 1 centimeter or something.
Well, here, what if I just pull like this?
Can we loosen up the fabric a bit?
We usually don't do
Yeah,
that.
all
We
right.
never
Here,
have
what if I
to
just pull on it like this? Does that help at all?
Yeah, it does, but it just...
It's not enough. Did he file it down? Yeah, what if you use the hammer while I'm leaning on it? Do you think that might?
So the board is just down there?
It's web.
No, it's...
Is it nail?
Is it nail?
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, that... Also. No, it's not nailed.
Does the board go under here?
No.
Designer shovel.
Right here. That's the board.
We have to get out that board.
Metal.
And
Yeah, it's nothing to do with...
Can't breathe in here. Oh, was there some? I guess so.
I just trying to figure out if it's nailed or what. No, there's no nail.
Okay. You want us to pry it out with a shovel, Lori?
I think so. I gotta try to work on this knot over here.
Okay. Good to the other side now too?
No, it's already done.
It's done.
The end.
Well, yeah, we could go around this way instead.
No, not really.
And not try to go over.
What should be now?
Go this way.
This way.
It had two systems on one on both sides.
Not in the
Which will
future.
be fine.
Okay, there is work on the inside now. We need to pull out. Wait. First it's Lori.
I haven't took it out. Oh, no, I didn't.
No,
I took the other one.
the other one. Which end you're going to take it out?
I was looking to see
Too
it.
tight up there to get a rope through? Well, yeah, webbing.
Probably your end.
I think if it comes out here,
Yeah, that's it.
I got it.
You got the screws?
Really, really tight.
That's the next year.
Alright,
I just put it
so
back.
that's why. Well, what if you what if you had something like this to lever the fabric up? And then,
Oh, wait. We need to get
yeah, probably. Single hole. That's it. So the four corners are coming. You gotta figure out.
She knows where it is.
Were you thinking about doing it across these? That's not true.
Quickly ask Annotator. Where is
My favorite time.
our tools and our, what do you call it?
No idea. We need to find, don't forget it's one end bolt. Charge. Are these lower supports for those groupers not straight enough for you to trust them? I think I would want to trust them. That's very much. Because you want to put the blade right here. So, there's the saw swing out. And put these in. Well, and I guess what you're going to try to finish across these crossovers door here. Well, at the top.
Now don't pull it up yet. There's still screws in it. You have to get a screwdriver.
This way? Are we on? Okay.
Wait.
Definitely go through. We can go through this way. No problem.
That was smart.
No problem at all. And I can put two portions of webbing and put a beater.
You know, as a residential place, it was still used for other activities. This portion of the house was used as a trash area. They were strategically and systematically putting their trash in this area in a very organized manner, not just trashing whatever. They had layers of very soft trash, organic materials, remains of cooking and eating and fire burning, but they also had layers of very stable and strong materials such as bricks or eroded and old bricks or parts of a feature that they were rebuilding, so they needed to cut out some parts of the feature. And so those bricks, they were also trashing in the same area, but in such a manner to make this area, the midden area, strong enough to endure something that would be later on built on top of it. In other words, when you have such a dense settlement, and when you have buildings built on top of each other, you have to strategize about how post-residential use of your building, because you know that eventually on top of this building, another one will have to be built. And yet at the same time, you don't have space you don't want to throw your trash on the outside of the settlement. It has to go on the inside of the settlement. So you have to do it in a strategic way, not to undermine the future structures. So we had the midden in that large area, and in this area, the only roof that was excavated at Çatalhöyük, and most Neolithic buildings in the Near East and in the Balkans and in Europe generally don't have their roofs preserved. And we know very little about the roofs of the Neolithic building. We know much more about the walls, the floors, the interior features and stuff like that, but the roofs are really a mystery for us. So, so here we had preserved remains of the roof, but not the entire roof, just the one portion of it that was in this part of the northern part of the building. And we had excavated it before and earlier and sampled it very heavily, and so we know a little bit more about the Çatalhöyük roofs now. And it seems that the roofs were similar to what we see today in the local villages around here, that they were flat, that they were made of layers of clay, and also that they were heavily used for just daily activities. People were sitting, and maybe sleeping, and doing various activities on top of the houses, on the roofs. The roofs were re-plastered also, the new layers were put on top of the previous layers of clay, and so we had this nice and stripy, thick clay remains of the roof. And if you're interested in that, you can see the sample, large sample that we have kept of the roof down in the museum. So that was before, and the rest of the remains infill was just as I said, the superstructure, portions of the wall bricks and plaster and stuff like that fell in or were pushed in. Now, this year we are going to go through the existing floors. We want to get under the house. We have to remove the plaster of the walls everywhere around. We have to record the bricks, wall bricks carefully, and most likely take down most of the walls, especially the double wall in that area. And then we have to basically arrive on whatever was under this house. We know more or less what was under this house because we know that because we have these pits and these cuts that show us in their profiles what's underneath. So we know that there is another midden under this house, and in the same area where our midden was, which was inside it, house 3. And so we want to arrive on the surface below the floors in this house. That is the aim, and we have to do it this year. So all these interior walls, all that will be taken down, and you will be doing it. Okay, I'll stop at this, and if you have any questions, we can talk about it, or we can just we will be talking about it.
What's the date of the layer that we're at?
Oh, right. I should tell you about that. This is according to Mellard's levels at Çatalhöyük. This is either 6 or 7, house level 6 or 7, which is obviously somewhere in the middle. The entire settlement had, according to Mellard, 12 levels of houses, and this would be level 6 or 7. And it is, a little earlier than the house this house was earlier than the house next door. So we don't have yet the house around here that's excavated that was used at exactly the same time as this house, was inhabited at the same time as this house. We also don't know very much about the practices of these people, in the sense that we don't know if they abandoned this house and then built one next door and moved into that one and lived in there, and then when that one had to be abandoned for whatever reasons, structural reasons or any other reasons, they then ceased to use that house, built another one next door and lived in that one. Or we had a number of families living at the same time in their houses in this area, one of them or all of them at roughly the same time decided, okay, this whole area of the site has to be abandoned. We cannot live here anymore for whatever reasons. We have to build new houses on the other end. So there are various options here, and that part of our work is to actually find out as much as we can about that. Yeah. Any other questions? No. Okay. So then Michael and his crew will start setting up the ropes, and the idea is to have the ropes up here so that he can move on those and just take the pictures from straight above the house. And that is in order to avoid distortions that we otherwise have when we take pictures of such a large surface, because we cannot get far away from it and at the same time see with the camera what we want to see, what we are following. And do you think you'll be able to do it, Michael?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It may take us a week to get the system in place. But that's the way it is. Because we can't, we will go.
Have you been dating charcoal? You say this is where the level 6. Have you been dating charcoal out of this anyway?
We have not received the results of our...
Well, it hasn't been received by the Dendro Lab yet.
Yeah. The thing is that most of our samples ended up in Cambridge, in UK, and because nothing can be exported from there because of the various diseases that they have, the animal diseases, they can't go to the labs and they cannot be analyzed. They're just sitting there and waiting for the time when they can be exported.
And that's how here that Mellor found in some of his houses.
Yeah, for them. Yeah, she's talking about them.
Here,
We are doing that.
Yeah, but with wiggle matching, you can get much more precise results.
Oh, no, I know.
We have a wiggle match chronology.
Right, no, I do.
From the site, yeah.
Right. That's excellent.
Yeah. We analyze, and our AMS samples will be analyzed, and we haven't gotten the results. We have, the sampling at Çatalhöyük has been very heavy. I mean, we have a lot of samples taken from all the areas, and it takes a long time to receive the results. As you know, we have the same problem with our chemical analysis of the source. We have sampled it heavily, and we have to process these samples. So in place, and it was heavily burned, surrounded with burned remains of the walls and possibly roof. We had a human jaw, lower jaw next to it, and we had a beautiful dagger, which became already well known, with a nicely carved wooden handle. And that was all in that area. So this little building, we have a feeling, even though it's not completely excavated at some point, was heavily used for ritual activities, as opposed to the building next door, our space 80A, where we have found remains of very practical activities, such as areas of grinding. We had a ground equipment that was set in the floor. We had remains of ochre. We had a platform that was very much run down and many times replaced because of the use for possibly grinding and some other activities related to the grinding. So that would be like a very, functional room, as opposed to this little room that was very mainly used for symbolic ritual activities. And then the space 87, we don't know very much about yet. It was very beautifully, it had very beautiful wall plasters, so it seems that it had been also used for maybe more symbolic than practical activities. And in the wall between those two spaces, 88 and 87, we have a little niche that you can see. we have a niche that was built into the wall. Another thing that I forgot to tell you is that on top here, in the top remains in this area, we have found six burials. Yeah, 6 burials that are Byzantine burials. And the remains of the burial pit, you can see in some instances, like here, this one. This burial, this was a child burial, a girl, 12-year-old girl that was buried here. And then you can see here another cup, squarish cup. This is the middle part of a burial that ran like that. And this is another end of it, of the burial cup here. So it had run like that. And then we had a number of other burials that were above the building tree, or built partially in the walls of the building tree. Like that interior, the painted wall, you see that square cup? That is the burial cup, the remains of the burial cup. So yeah, and we had very fine finds inside. We had glass vessels and bone needles, and then we had some nice pottery vessels and nice clay lamp and stuff like that. And most of them, well, all but one burial, Byzantine burial, were oriented east-west, such as this one. And the only one that was found here in this case was oriented north-south. So what we think about it is that the one that was oriented north-south was a pre-Christian burial, and the rest of them were obviously after the rules of Christianity established that everybody should be buried east-west direction. What else? Well, everything else will come later. What you can see here is the wall bricks and plaster and mortars between the bricks, the thin layers of mortars and then the square bricks. You can see that here also on this wall. And you can see that because those walls didn't have plasters on them. In the main building, you cannot see that because they're all were plastered. Anything else I forgot to say about? Do you want to say anything about your burials now, or you want to say that? Oh, that's right. Yeah, right. The midden area, as I said, was very complex area. It had many layers of remains. The bottom layer of the midden, basically the layer that was sitting on top of the house floor, we called scapularium because we found number of scapula that is cattle shoulder bones, which are very large, and they were arranged in a certain way and possibly covered with organic materials, because we found them covered with phytoliths, and which is this white material, remains of the organic material. And so the idea is that they were either in some baskets made of whatever plants, or they were covered with a plant material once they were deposited on the floor. So, you know, the explanation for that is that obviously there was a reason for depositing all of these scapula at roughly the same time in this area. One reason could be that they probably had a feast, maybe. They had a huge feast. And then the bone remains of the feast, they deposited here because they decided this is going to become part of the trash area in the house, and then ritually it was marked in that way. There are also other explanations people offer that maybe these are the dried meat type of thing that was hanging up on the wall in the house. once they stopped using the house, all these remains were were allowed to fall down on the floor, and this was the beginning of the living in the house. And I mean, there are possibly other explanations for that, but we'll stop at this. And so that was quite interesting to find such a large number of scapula. It was in this area. Interestingly enough, this is the kitchen area of the house, what we call the kitchen area, because this is where we find a number of fire installations. We find a lot of remains of cooking and fire making, and so I thought, David, that this should be the area of the house that you should work in. And in that area we also had remains of entrance into the house. You probably know that the entrances in Çatalhöyük houses were through the roof. And so usually these entrances were, we think, based on the excavation so far, were in the southeast area of the house. And this is just that southeast area of the house. So we had down here in that area, which is the middle of the kitchen area, we had also on the floor some indication of ladder being in there, and that also goes well with the idea that the ladder and the opening were in that area of the house where the fire was, cooking fire was being made, because then the smoke would escape the same way and so forth through the opening in the room. Yeah, I mean, there are tons of interesting details about it and problematic details about the house, but we'll talk about that as we go through them. I think I'll stop, or else I can go on and on and on. Like a broken record. Yeah. So, is it exciting? Yes. Okay. Yeah, so maybe we'll just walk in and out on that side, somewhere close to that corner, but still not stepping on the very edge, on the plasters, but wall plasters.
Oh, sorry.
Get in and out, yeah, in that area, and then we'll not on this end.
Well, I was just saying this platform is going to be on the side sort of points the way you did.
From this, yeah, well, yeah, maybe, yeah, some people can. People who are working in that area can go in and out that way, this way, and then the rest of us will be coming in from that side, on that end.
Why'd you bring it?
Because when I go to southern Jordan, I'm going to be doing some climbing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it static or dynamic rope?
Michael, are these your
I think it's dynamic.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
I'm going to set them with your...
Thank you. That's great. And there was another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That won't be a problem at all. And we can hang permanent rope from those 4, so that we can get to basically to the high points of wherever we want to get. That's cool. We'll top rope hang them so that they're hanging down, and then we will dress the ropes by pulling them out of the way, so they're not hanging into the excavation area. That's fine. We're going to rely heavily on the low structural system. This, and this. That's the way that we're going to be able. Like if I need to take a shot over here, we're the load bearing is that center system. We need to be able to pull, swing over. How we're going to do that is by having a system of webbing there, or on here, or on there, and then a lateral system on the side with the pulley.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's only one system of safety. So a additional belay will be up there as well. An additional belay will be at the load point, but it'll be a second system.
Yeah, it won't be.
That will be a human being on a belay, and that will provide the additional safety should System A freak out. That's basically my theory as we see it. I don't think I like having a digital photographer around. All of a sudden, I'm the one getting videotaped. So, how's it sound, gentlemen?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
It's the same too. Buddy of mine. It sucks so bad.
If I fall now, I deserve it.
Oh, sorry, 118 what?
33.
Yeah. so you can't get your hands cold. I had infinitely thin hands. All these theories have been theorized. Okay, we need a rope. We need a rope. We need one end of the rope tied with a knot. Whose name escapes me. Huh? Yeah, you can come off that. Just so you can walk around. You can leave the figures. They're both long enough for the job. And if you're willing to bring the book over, I can actually do that. Which knot do you want to do? I can't remember what it's called. You can turn it off. Okay, cool. Didn't we say we grabbed that? Said we didn't want to do that?
Hey, you definitely have to cut that from the video.
Yeah, that's gonna go bye-bye.
Well, I didn't get that part anyway, so that's alright.
What's that?
But you got us talking about it now, right?
Yeah. Well, that's your own. That's your own fault.
What are you talking about? Nothing happened. I can see it.
Alright, ready?
Wait.
You can step on that, you're okay. The whole floor you can freaking do a jig, okay? It's fine.
Don't step on like nails.
Okay.
Can you make that toss now?
Yeah. You should try it.
That's you, man.
Threw that in?
You know what you should probably do is throw it from back there. Like get up.
Actually, I mean, just throw it from down there. Sure. I mean, you can stand anywhere. You can stand closer to that wall in front of you.
This needs some more. Well, you can throw it from back here and use like this one.
Huh?
You can throw it from here and use like leverage back here to help you out.
That's true. Yeah, I think you're more accurate from there, I think. Don't you think you'd be more accurate from there, though? Since it's just a shorter toss? I mean, this was a about as easy to toss as it gets.
Well, you're using that rope, right? Yeah. So. Oh, yeah. Either way. So, yeah.
If he's underneath, you just.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'm just saying it doesn't work that way.
Let's go for it.
That's not how it's going to go. Catch nice.
Did you see the movie?
Yes.
That was so funny.
Oh, it's
I'm sorry, like for me, the funniest line is when they went to war. And that American colonel's like, "They're beating us, sir." And it's like, there's no way in hell you would ever beat the American Army. So it was really funny.
Did you know it? Yeah.
Twice.
Saddam, what
I
did you call it?
What was it? The color shield? What was it? The color shield, the dark shield.
The dark shield.
The dark shield.
Yeah. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, well, the whole movie was
They insulted every organism on this planet, I'm for sure.
I think even plants are getting annoyed by that.
That was not even close. I just thought I'd let you know.
That's great.
Where's the switch?
Here.
Oh, you need to wait those.
Hold it, hold it, hold it.
Oh, he's.